Learner. There is a sloka, Swarstani. Kavya Shastra Vinodena Kalo Gacchati Dhimata. Murkhanam tu Nidraya Kalahenava. Kavya Shastra Vinodam. All these are happening in your Samiti. And another thing is, so many great scholars have participated and they have given their lectures, and now I don't know how far I am going to be in their list. Only my Guru and Devi should give me the blessings to start my lecture. Generally, Mīmāṃsā Shastram is known as a tough subject. That is number one thing. And another thing is, Mīmāṃsā Shastram is not allowed for women. Yataha. Why? Because in Veda itself, Strinam Adhikaro Astivanava means to learn Veda, do the women have the right or not? There is a prakarana, one full chapter is there. And finally, the conclusion is that you should not recite as the rik, that is swara, anuswara, udatta. With that, you are not, that is the women are not supposed to recite the mantra louder. As a sloka, you can recite it even louder. And if at all you want to, you have accustomed to like Sri Suktam, Rudram, so many things nowadays. And though we do come across even women reciting Durga Suktam, Sri Suktam, and even Rudra Parayanam in Sai Sabha Samiti, I think they do even Rudram. Okay? But it is not Dharma Shastra or Vaidika Parampara does not allow that. That is one. And how do I came in this as a woman? Another question. It was my Guru, Goda Venkateswara Shastrigal. He supported me, and I am from KSR Swami Shastri Research Institute. My guide, Dr. Kameswari, she said, since you have a Guru, he will guide you, you take Mīmāṃsā. So, it is my Guru's grace or Devi's grace, I took up this Mīmāṃsā subject. And my thesis was Viditraya Paritranam, which is criticism of Appaya Dikshita's Vidhi Rasayana. So that is my topic. I did it. My Guru's desire was that people should know Mīmāṃsā means Dr. Annapurna. You should work out for that. Of course, they did not do it. He knows it. Now, he did not leave me. Though he is in the Sripura, he is continuously making me whatever he said, which I did not follow. I am doing it. I am experiencing it, and I feel, even now here, I feel my Guru's presence. Basically, with his blessings, I would like to start the lecture. Mīmāṃsā. Ancient India has been the cradle of many systems of philosophy, all seeking the knowledge of truth. The ultimate realization of these philosophical ruminations has been mainly achievement of dharma and moksha. These two tendencies developed on the one hand into the Brahma Sutras of Badarayana Vyasa, and on other in Jaimini's Purva Mīmāṃsā Sutras. The term Mīmāṃsā is derived from the root man. The term Mīmāṃsā is derived from the root man, to know, with reservative suffix san. It means the desire of knowledge. Panini's Sutra says, Ma bandha sanjyo dirghaja abhyasya. Katyayana Smriti, mane jignasayam. Man is to know. In the Samhitas, Brahmanas and Upanishads, the Sannanta root Mīmāṃsā is used either as a noun or as a verb in the combined sense of desire for knowledge and discussion. Taittiriya Samhita says, Utsrujyam na utsrujyati mīmāṃsante brahmavadinaha. Vyākhyānam yam patreva talpeva mīmāṃsyet. To decide what to do, what not to do, whether to choose the A or B, it is discussed and analyzed. These are the meanings of this. Vyākhyānam yam patreva talpeva. Antaryat prayogaha syat vrittantat iti mīmāṃsyante. Generally the word Mīmāṃsā will need to discuss and analyze. That is the meaning of the word Mīmāṃsā. Mīmāṃsā Sutras of Jaimini. Jaimini is the Sutrakara of Mīmāṃsā Sutras, and the date of Jaimini, if you see, before you go into the subject in the Shastra, the chronological, historical data, it says, next slide. Next. The history of Purva Mīmāṃsā we classified into pre-Kumarila period from the earliest to 600 AD, Kumarila period, Kumarila Bhatta, 680 to 900 AD, post-Kumarila period after 900 AD. Now, in the pre-Kumarila period comes Jaimini and his Jaimini Sutras. The date for Jaimini, as usual in Bharatadesha, not very perfectly said. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan and Das Gupta, they give the date as 200 BC to Jaimini, and 400 BC says Professor Jacobi, and in Mahabhashya of Patanjali, he says that is in that book it is 150 BCE, and they give the reason also for that. Why? Because Jaimini had himself refers in his Mīmāṃsā Sutras to many acharyas like Atreya, Kāśyāyani and Badri. The Mīmāṃsā Sutras of Jaimini cover all aspects of Vedic injunctions, including laying rules for performance of sacrifice, yajna, and other Vedic rites and rituals. The work contains 16 chapters. The first 12 chapters are called Dvadasa Lakshmi. The last 4 chapters are popularly known as Saṃskṛta Kanda. It is only on the Dvadasa Lakshmi the great writers like Kumarila Bhatta have written commentaries. The next is Kumarila period, that is after Jaimini. In this 600 to 900 AD, we have 3 scholars, or one is Kumarila Bhatta. His date is 620 to 700 AD, and he was known as outstanding figure of that period, and he is the author of well-known Mīmāṃsā Vārtika. Kumarila's great work constitutes an extensive commentary on the Sabarabhashya. Sabarabhashya is Mīmāṃsā Jaimini Sutras commentary was written by Sabara, and for Sabarabhashya, Kumarila has written the commentary, which is known as Shloka Vārtika, Tantra Vārtika and Tuktika. And 2 more works, namely Brihat Tika, Madhyama Tika, are also ascribed to Kumarila. His school of Mīmāṃsā has come to be known as Bhatta Mata. Kumarila is accepted as more authoritative than the Bhashyakara Sabara himself. Next comes Prabhakara Mishra. His age is 650 to 720, the period. Prabhakara, one of the distinguished disciples of Kumarila, according to tradition, wrote two independent commentaries on Sabarabhashya, Brihati or Nibandhana Tika and Lagvi, otherwise called Nivarana Tika. Prabhakara has criticized the doctrines propounded by Kumarila and differed from him on numerous points. His school of Mīmāṃsā has come to be known as Guru Mata. Here, the incident, the Guru Mata, the title Guru of Prabhakara is explained by a curious incident. Once when Kumarila before, even before. Next one. Okay. The title Guru of Prabhakara is explained by a curious incident. Once when Kumarila had to explain an ambiguous passage, Atrapi Noktam Tatratu Noktam Iti Viruktam. Atrapi Noktam Tatratu Noktam Iti Viruktam. He could not make anything out of this puzzle. After some time, one of his disciples, Prabhakara, solved the puzzle and gave the solution as Atra Apina Uktam Tatra Tu Na Uktam. Api and Tu are supposed to be the Avyayas indeclinable. So, the puzzle he cleared with saying Atra Api, using the word Api, it is given. In the other place, it is using the word tu. So, the passage gives different two meanings. So, this is the answer or the answer for the puzzle Prabhakara had found. So, the teacher was immensely pleased with it and commended Prabhakara for the ingenious explanation by conferring on him the title Guru. From that time onwards, Prabhakara came to be known as Guru, and his school is called Guru Mata, Bhatta Mata and Guru Mata. The third one in this same era, Mandana Mishra, a popular name everybody would have heard. According to Anandagiri's Sankara Vijaya, Mandana Mishra was the husband of Kumarila's sister. Further, he is traditionally known as disciple of Kumarila. So, he should be a contemporary of Kumarila and may therefore be placed between 670 to 740 AD. Mandana Mishra has written 6 works. Vidhi Viveka, mainly an exposition of Vyākhyānam. Bhavana Viveka primarily deals with the nature and scope of Arti Bhavana. Both these works contain Karikas and Vivaranas. Karika and Vivarana is nothing but the commentaries. Vibhrama Viveka elucidates the 5 Khyativadas, the Mīmāṃsā Sutra Anukramani, a descriptive index in works form for the adhikaranas of the 12 chapters of Purva Mīmāṃsā. Here I would like to give you the number of sutras Jaimini has written. He has written 1000 sutras. For 1000 sutras, he had given in the form of sloka index. Another book is Spota Siddhi, establishes the doctrine of Spota as again the Guru, and Kumarila refutations of the same in his Sloka Vartika. Another book is Brahma Siddhi, an Advaitic texture and differs from Shankaracharya's views. So, pre-Kumarila, Kumarila, and after Kumarila there are so many other Mīmāṃsakas came. List is there. And after a period of 14th century, nobody had written any book on Mīmāṃsā. Now, let us see the 12 chapters of Jaimini, the 1000 sutras. Book 1 is discussed the authoritativeness of those collections of words which are severally meant by the terms injunction vidhi. Explanatory passages, Arthavada, Mantra, hymn, Smriti, tradition, Namadeya, name. In the second book, certain subsidiary discussions like Apurva are explained. In the third, Shruti, sign or sense of language, the linga, the context, and Vakya. All these things are described in second and third books. In the fourth book, the influence on other rights of the principal and subordinate rights, the fruit caused by the juhu being made, purodasa. Here, purodasa is nothing but a rice cake. When you make the rice cake purodasa, you use the rice flour. To take the rice, remove the husk. To remove the husk, how the husk to be removed? For that, the discussion goes on. So, these things are explained in the fourth book. And in the fifth book, different parts of the sacrifices, 17 animals of Vajapeya, and the respective force of the words Shruti, order of mention, etc. are described in the fifth book. In the sixth book, the persons qualified to offer sacrifices, their obligations, the substitutes for enjoined materials, supplies for lost or injured offerings, expiatory rites, and Satrayaga, all these things are described in the sixth book. In the seventh, transference of ceremonies of one sacrifice to another by direct command in the Vedic text. In the eighth, the transference by virtue of the clearly expressed or obscurely expressed sign or predominant sign. These things are explained. In the ninth book, discussion on the adaptation of hymns when quoted in a new connection. In the hymn, there are few hymns, Saman they say, for different yagas, same Sama is sung. So then, what is the need for that or how it should be sung, all these details is discussed in the 8th book. In the 9th book, the discussion of Saman. And in the 10th book, discussion of occasions where the non-performance of primary right involves in the preclusion and non-performance of the dependent rights. That is whether we say Prayaja, Anuyaja. Prayaja is the main yaga, and there are, as we say, the major and ancillary, like that. Prayaja and Anuyaja. Whatever is said in Prayaja, in Anuyaja it should be done. But in some yagas, there is a difference. So this is described in the 10th book. And in the 11th book, incidental mention and subsequently the fuller discussion of tantras. In the 12th book, discussion on prasanga, where the rite is performed for one chief purpose, but with an incidental further reference into the tantras. So these are the subjects he has discussed in the 1000 sutras in 12 chapters. Now, an interesting thing about Mīmāṃsā Shastra is, we all know Vedasya Shadangaha, Vyākhyānam, among the 6 angas of Veda, Vyākhyāna. Mīmāṃsā does not come under the Vyākhyāna because it is a Shastra. But in this Shastra, the approach of meaning, that is word meaning, is totally different from the Vyākarana Paddhati. So that is very interesting, and the modern linguistic, to my knowledge, started only from 15th century or later 15th century. But these linguistic aspects are there in the Mīmāṃsā Shastra, which means before 200 AD, whatever the date we have seen in the Jaimini's era. So, ancient Indian philosophers were deeply interested in the ability of language not just to communicate but to instigate action. Much thought was devoted to exploring the relationship between the linguistic communication and resultant action. Mīmāṃsā mainly deals with the interpretation of Vedic sentences. Mīmāṃsā defines a sentence as a group of words serving a single purpose. The definition itself is totally different from the grammar book. Group of words serving a single purpose. As the investigations and cognate interpretations of the Vedic text being the main purpose of Mīmāṃsā, the Mīmāṃsakas had evolved certain canons of interpretation of Vedic text. While approaching the textual problems, Mīmāṃsakas laid emphasis chiefly on the analysis and synthesis of the Vedic text. While interpreting the Vedic sentences, Arthavada plays an important role. There are three different vadas. Arthavada, three subdivisions as Gunavada, Anuvada and Bhutavada. Gunavada is that statement that are contradictory to worldly experiences and so have to explain figuratively for getting a coherent meaning. Anuvada is that statements in Vedas repeating the ideas that are already known to and Bhutavada. Statements that are unknown to us and also not contradictory to our worldly experiences, they may be taken to be true. These Arthavadas in the Vedas become authoritative when they are converted into a single unit, Ekavakhya, with injunctions and prohibitions, Nishedas. The Mīmāṃsakas, in addition to the first enunciated the three factors among the parts of a sentence as constituting the basis of syntactic unity, Sannidhi, phonetic contiguity, totally different from the Vyākhyāna Paddhati. Yogyata, logical consistency. Akanksha, syntactic expectancy. Of these, Sannidhi, Yogyata and Akanksha. Akanksha is all comprehensive and the most important. Next slide. Akanksha, it consists in a word not being able to convey a complete sense when the related words that would complete the meaning are absent. In other words, it is the desire on the part of the listeners to know the other words or their meaning to complete the sentence. Also, a word is said to have akanksha for another word when it cannot produce knowledge of its interconnection in an utterance without the other word. In every language, certain words necessarily require for some specific words to complete the sentence. Thus, a noun requires a verb to convey a complete meaning. A verb like take has need for another word denoting a particular object. Take the book, take the class, whatever it is. A string of words such as dog, go, man, run, elephant, so on does not convey a complete sense. As there is no connection between them, there is lack of akanksha between the words. According to Prabhakaram school, every Vedic injunction is a command, niyoga. The person who is enjoined to do it does it simply because it is the command. Satyam vada, dharmam chara means you are to do, a strict rule. It is niyoga. Hence, according to Prabhakara school, the three essential psychological akanshas are Vishaya, the act enjoined, Niyojya, the person who is enjoined to do it, and Karana, the means of doing it. Thus, in the passage, Visvajita Yajeta, the Visvajit sacrifice is to be performed. There is no mention of the Niyoja or functionary. Therefore, to complete the meaning, Visvajita Yajeta, who? Swarga Kamaha, one who wants to attain the moksha swarga, one who is desirous of heaven, is to be understood that not given in the sentence. But according to Bhatta school, the content of an injunction enjoins an action that is productive of some beneficial result. The akanksha of the Vedic injunction is for iti kartavyata, that act enjoined. Sadhana or karana means, and the phala. Thus, in the sentence Visvagita Yajeta, the additional word Swargakamaha is to satisfy the akanksha regarding the fruit of action. In this way, the two schools of Mīmāṃsā give two different sets of akanksha according to the difference in the interpretation of the psychological factors involved in Vidhi. Yogyata. It is the logical compatibility or consistency of the words in a sentence for mutual association. When the meaning of a sentence is not contradicted by experience, it is said that there is yogyata, consistency between its constituent words. For example, in the sentence Payasa Sinchati, it is a Vedic sentence. Payasa Sinchati, he wets it with water. I told you, Vrihi Navahanti, that is to make Purodasa, they need the rice flour. To make the rice flour, you need paddy, and to remove the husk from the paddy, you need to sprinkle water. There comes this word. Okay, Payasa Sinchati, he wets it with water. There is yogyata, consistency of meaning, since wetting is generally done with a liquid like water. There is no incompatibility between the idea of wetting and that of water. But a sentence like Agdina Sinchati, he wets it with fire, has no yogyata, since the idea of wetting is incongruous with the burning nature of fire. The other one is Sannidhi or Asakti. The continuity of proximity of the words is the uninterrupted utterance of the words. I remember in Valmiki Ramayana, Hanuman is coming to meet Rama. Rama listens to Hanuman's words. No doubt Lakshmana was beside him only. But when Hanuman completes the speech, that must be maximum of 7 to 10 slokas. Recently you did your Ramayana Parayana, so I thought I can give you this extra information. So there he says, Bhashana Kauchalam. How Hanuman spoke to Rama. Lakshmana was there, he was also listening. But he says, why I am telling you, Hanuman, the speech of Hanuman, the quality, how he spoke, Rama says, he did not speak very fast. He did not took very time. For that I am giving you the word here, Asakti. I remembered the Ramayana incident. That is, utterance of the words, it should be continuously. If I keep fast and I do, two things will happen. One, you will sleep or you will get up and go. Nobody will be there to understand what I am going to say, I. So that is what the Asakti, what you are going to say, what I am going to listen, is there any connection, is there any use for me to listen to this? All these things will be in the mind of the listener. So he says here, Sannidhi, Mīmāṃsā, though it is only the text which gives the meaning for the Vedic sentences, and this is in the day-to-day life, even in Ramayana, we have seen, it is very clearly says, Rama says he did not spoke very fast, he did not take too much of past time, all that. So this is, there is unbroken comprehension of the words when they are spoken. Words uttered at long intervals cannot produce the knowledge of any interrelation among them. Even if there be akanksha and yogyata, if the words are separated by the intervention or irrelevant word, then also the connection of the meaning cannot be understood. Kumaralabhatta distinguishes between Sannidhi and mere immediate sequence of utterance, Anantara Shruti. He explains Sannidhi as continuous moving about of the words or their meaning in the mind. Buddhau Viparita Vritti. According to the Bhatta school, the lack of Sannidhi is of two kinds, not being uttered together and not being signified by the words. So, they hold the view the syntactic relation is possible only for what has been comprehended through words. According to Prabhakara school, Sannidhi does not mean simultaneous mental comprehension of the words, as in the case of Akanksha, it works step by step in order of sequence in which they are cognized. The mutual connection of the meanings of words is comprehended step by step along with the knowledge of Akanksha, Yogyata and Sannidhi. In the sentence, Gamanaya Shuklam Dandena, bring the cow which is white with a stick. First, the cow is known as related to the verb bring. Then, this connected sense is related to the meanings of the next word white and later with that of next. Bhavana. This is another important aspect given by the Mīmāṃsā school. According to Bhattas, the word meanings becomes connected with each other by serving a single purpose of conveying bhavana, which is the general meaning of every sentence. The term bhavana is primary derivative kridanta from the causative base bhava, the root bhu dhatu. Bhavana is to be analyzed in deep way. The doctrine of bhavana, which is creative energy, is peculiar to the Mīmāṃsakas. Bhavana nama bhavitur bhavananukulo bhavayitur vyāpāra viseshaka. Bhavana nama bhavitur bhavananukulo bhavayitur vyāpāra viseshaka. Yajñadatta, a father, orders his son Devadatta to bring a cow. The idea or inclination that he should go through certain action which would result in the bringing of the cow. Then he puts that inclination in the mind of Devadatta. The purpose is Devadatta to bring the cow. Into practice the cow, the incident can be looked at from 2 points. First, Yajñadatta wants that a certain thing, pravritti, action on the part of his son. He wants his son to do something. Devadatta should come out with that. Yajñadatta is therefore bhavayitru, or one who makes certain thing to happen. And Devadatta's intention, the bhavitru, or the thing to happen. Now, bhavana is the some activity. Vyāpāra. On the part of the bhavayita, Devadatta is bhavayita, which is favorable for the happening bhavanam, the activity, which is going to happen. Thus, there are two bhavanas. Yajñadattasya nishtaha, the desire of Yajñadatta, the father. Devadattasya anayana vishaya pravrittihi, Devadatta's action by bringing the cow. This is called Shabdi Bhavana. And second one is Arthi Bhavana. Now, we have a beautiful text. The word yajeta means do the sacrifice. Yajeta. Here we have yaj is the dhatu, the root verb, and the pratyaya is the suffix. And in the pratyaya, you have two different aspects. One is Akhya Tattva, the other one is Linktva. Akhya Tattva is general, verbal. Linktva is, we have Dasalakaras, because you are all very familiar with grammar and Sanskrit. So, Dasalakaras is the Linktva optativeness. Now, in the Akhya Tattva, as well in the Linktva, we have three things. What are all they? Kim bhavayet, kena bhavayet, katham bhavayet. Now, Swargakamo is the sentence. Okay. Kim bhavayet, Swargakamam bhavayet. Kena bhavayet, yajnena bhavayet. Katham bhavayet, pratyayadi yagena bhavayet. Doing by the yaga. This is in the Arthi Bhavana. But in the Sabdi Bhavana, if you see, you have the Linktva. That is the lectal lung load in this. Linga is the only tense, or there is a mood which commands. So, Kim Bhavayet, Arthi Bhavanam Bhavayet. What is the father said? You should Bhavayet. And Kena Bhavayet, Linktva. How? If I say Bhavishyati, it is future tense. Glitlakara. So, tomorrow only, I don't need to, I will not get up. So, it is not other tense, it is ling, lot lakara, within command. So, lingadivihi bhavayet. And katham bhavayet? Arthadivihi bhavayet. Arthiva, what is the mind? What is in the mind of father? That should be action. So, this is Shabdi Bhavana. The optative case also denotes Arthi Bhavana in its general aspect, Akhya Tattva in its special aspect, Linktva, it denotes the Shabdi Bhavana. Both of these constitute three factors, I told you. In the case of Arthi or actual Bhavana, what is to be brought is the final result. I have given you the example, Gamanaya, as a worldly example. In the Vedic Mīmāṃsā, the text is Swargakamo Ejeta. What is to be brought in the final result? Heaven in the case of the sacrifice. The instrument by which, without this, am I audible? I don't think I need this. Maybe I am lifting it or doing something. It disturbs. Let me, if I am audible, I am audible. The instrument by which the result is to be brought about consists of the ritual. Third one is the manner or process of the bringing about the lives in this entire procedure of the actual performance of the sacrifice. In the case of Shabdi Bhavana, on the other hand, what is brought about or accomplished is prompting the agent in the action. The prompting is brought about by the instrumentality, that is, Dadna Jyoti, Payasa, by which, that is the guna, how you are going to do the yaga or yajna. Then, prompting is brought about by the instrumentality of the injunctive. The Vedic sentence will give you, do by this, do in this way. The process or manner of the prompting lies in the idea of excellence of the activity derived from the commendatory or the other similar text. There are so many. In the 12th chapter, different Vakyas are given in the different places. You have to correlate, bring it according to your performance. You should understand in that way. And Linktva, Akhya Tattva over, a very fine classification of sentences and verbs that constitute the care of sentences are undertaken even by the Paanini's verb. A verb of Sanskrit language has at least two elements, namely dhatu and pratyaya. Next. According to the rules of grammar, and only then is the verb considered meaningful. According to Paanini's grammar, verbs have 6 tense and 4 modes. Each mode possesses a different meaning. It is therefore attributed to the ling suffix by the possess a force of command. The force of an injunction then had to proceed from the Vedic sentence itself. In an ordinary situation, the force of a command is obtained from the language as well as from the status of the person issuing the command. Panini lists out 4 modes. Action is expressed in a prescriptive sentence through the modes, namely linga, Vyākhyānam, load, imperative mode, tapya, conditional mode, late, which is commonly not seen in the literature. Panini introduces the usage of link in the sutras by Vidhi, Nimantrana, Amantrana, Adrita, Saṃskṛta, Prarthanetu, link. He gives the different places. Yes, Vidhi, injunction, Nimantrana, invitation. In all these places, you can use link. Then comes the Vidhi Vakyas or subclasses of what might be called in link Vakyas. They are utterances which inform the hearer of some action or a course of action and indicate that it should be carried out. The Vidhi Vakyas cannot be applied to the past. They are operatively applicable to the present or future. The grammatical form of Vidhi Vakya is that of command, and it is addressed to the person who is expected to carry out the same. The subject of command need not always be a second or third person. All these principles of linguistics are applied by the Mīmāṃsakas, which generally we think Mīmāṃsā, Vedic interpretation. No, it is more than the normal Panini grammar, and the approach of the Vakya and the approach of the word meaning is totally different. And the language linguistic we have seen. Same Mīmāṃsaka Vidhi, the rules are applicable in the Indian law, Dharma Shastra. In the laws, that is judicial, they have followed same Mīmāṃsaka rules in many cases, and they are really very interesting. I would like to give only 1 or 2 examples. A double meaning should not be attached to a word or sentence occurring at one and the same place. Very essential, and how he gives it. First, as regards word, there is no doubt that if a word occurs in different places, it may bear different meaning. But the same is in the case with a clause, but it is manifestly improper to take a word used at one and the same place in different senses. This is expressed in the well-known preposition. The word once uttered must have only one meaning. This rule is taken in the law for the Daya Bhaga, that is property distribution, who should get what, in that this law is used. The mother should be made an equal sharer. He said, the a lawyer as well as Mīmāṃsaka. He says, since the term mother intends a natural parent, it cannot also mean a stepmother. It cannot mean a stepmother. For a word employed once cannot bear the literal and a metaphorical sense at the same time. This is for the Daya Bhaga. And Namadeya, Vidhi, Mantra, Nimantrana, there are 5 kinds of Veda Bhaga. In that, Namadeya is one where the name, with that name, they have taken a law, that is the Mīmāṃsā rule is taken by the judicial rule. The word Holaka means spring festival, named Holi. This is the festival of the Holi, prevails among the people of the east, and if they migrate to the west, it will be their duty to celebrate the festival. We were doing there, now we have come here, we need not do it. Escapism. Shastra is not allowing it. Accordingly, a custom is never strictly local. another, or escapism. So, law are rituals and law institutes confined to particular classes, though some are followed by particular persons, preferably to others as Vasishta, Bahubhrityam in the Rigveda, Gautama by the Gobaliya, and the same Shanka and Linka by Vadaseni, different types of yagas. So, whatever the rule applicable in the yaga is practically used in the law. The main purpose of Mīmāṃsā philosophy was methodological interpretation of dharma or duty in ritualistic portion of the Veda. Its philosophical portion aims to provide epistemological, metaphysical and ethical justifications to the ritualistic doctrines. To acquire this knowledge, we come to know the present, that is how the Mīmāṃsakas put it in the words are very practical and very scientific. One is prima facie topic, that is adhikarana, and other thing is the consisting of subject. Then purva paksha, adhikarana, subject, purva paksha, uttara paksha and siddhanta. If you want to say something, first take the subject and you give your opinion, and somebody will counter it, and then you will come to a decision, that is siddhanta, final one. So this is how every mantra or every word is handled and explained by the Mīmāṃsakas. In the conclusion, the Mīmāṃsā begins with the, I did not say that because I want to explain it at the end. Atato dharma jignasa is the first rule, sutra in the Jaiminiya sutras. Atato dharma jignasa, and dharma is defined as Veda pratipadyaha prayojanavad arthaha. The word, the sentence which is given by the Veda, and it is only to follow the dharma. Veda pratipadyaha prayojanavad arthaha, which is the same as yaga. I told Vidhi, Mantra, Namadeya, Nisheda, Arthavada, 5 kinds of Vedic sentence Vedas. In the Veda we have 5 parts. The ultimate purpose is Dharma Pratipadaka. Pratipadaka is a general term. The special function which each these 5 parts perform with reference to Dharma is Vidina Vihitaha, Mantrena Smaritaha, Namadeyena Parischinnaha, Nishedena Nivartitaha, Arthavadena Prasamsito Ninditova. The paragraph describes the twofold fruit to be obtained from the practice of Dharma. By doing Dharma, you get 2 things. What is that? Sacrifice and other. If we practice Dharma with reference to some specific fruit, I want this Pasukamaha Dadda Jugoti, there is a word. One who wants to get cattle, he can do the Dadda, do the sacrifice with curd. So, some specific fruit, it becomes the cause of winning for us that fruit. But if we perform it not with the idea of getting any fruit for self, but with the idea of dedicating it to God, it becomes the cause of our attaining final oblation, moksha, that is Atato Dharma. I think to some extent I gave in a simple way because the subject itself is very tough, and I did not go Vidhi, Utpatti Vidhi, Niyama Vidhi, nothing I did. I just wanted to give the linguistic aspects in the Mīmāṃsā, which rarely, that is after 15th century, science, English, language, English, other languages, they started
the aspect of linguistics, whereas we, Bharatadeshe, Vedas, Apaurushaya Vedaha, it has given the linguistic aspect and many other aspects of taking the word meaning, but particular perfect way it has to be. So I took only that simple subject in the Mīmāṃsā, one portion. How far I justified only you to tell. Thank you for giving me an opportunity, and I never expected that all will be Sanskrit people and they will be doing so many things. I really appreciate your activities. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lakshmi.
We'll now start with the drama. We have a Sanskrit play. How many of you know Nala and Priya? You know the story of Nala and Damayanti? Few of you. So now you know what happened to Nala. What is the story of Nala? This complete play is going to be in Sanskrit. It is Sarala Bhasha, so it's not that difficult, you can understand. Okay. If you know your native language, you can make sense of Sanskrit. So before that, we'll felicitate ma'am. I request Lakshman Rao sir. I request Kalyani ma'am. We'll be giving snacks while in the meantime we'll set the stage up. So
please don't spill it, please do. What? There's nothing to spill. Please don't spill. And that space we need for the drama.